last night we learned that we have had 2 individuals who were tested at facilities in Mecklenburg County are presumptive positive for COVID-19.
Well, that was the headline earlier today, but headlines don't last long these days. In the past hour, cases across our area continued to spread. Thanks for joining us. I'm Scott Wickersham.
I'm Erica Bryant. Now we can tell you a look at what has changed. First, at 11 o'clock this morning, we were told Mecklenburg County had 2 presumptive cases. At this point, that is still holding. Both of those patients, we're told, are isolated right now at home, and they are doing well. But in the past hour, we've learned that Lancaster County now has a 2nd case. The first case in our area happened there yesterday. This new case, we're told, is being called a case with household contact. So apparently someone who lived with that first patient or lives with that first patient. We also learned just moments ago that Cabarrus County now reporting 1 case.
This picture captures a lot of people's feelings, and this is in uptown Charlotte. This is from a worker inside one Wells Fargo, and you can see crews out there in uniforms, hazmat uniforms, covered head to toe, cleaning. That's after Wells Fargo said a worker had prolonged close contact with a person who did test positive for coronavirus. As of now, they say that Wells Fargo worker is just being monitored at home. That worker has not tested positive. Our Susanna Black has been looking into Mecklenburg County's new cases all day today, and she's live for us in uptown. Susanna?
Well, Scott, the first thing that I really want to reiterate here is that those 2 people who have tested positive for the coronavirus here in Mecklenburg County, health officials say that they are doing okay tonight, well enough that they are at home where they are in isolation. But before today, like you just mentioned, we know that an employee here at the Wells Fargo building in Uptown was in close and prolonged contact with one of those folks who tested positive for coronavirus. So the cleaning that you see happening in this photo, that's to prevent more spread, or a term that we've heard a lot lately, community spread. Health Director Gibby Harris said they are now working quickly to try and identify anyone that came into contact with these 2 people and might have been exposed. Officials say they have traced both of these cases back to recent travel. One traveled out of state, the other out of the country.
But they're isolating at home. They're not severely ill. And we need to be supportive as a community of individuals who have been exposed and become ill from this infection.
And home is where they will stay until they hear differently from the health department. And one other thing that I do want to note, both of those people tested positive in Mecklenburg County facilities. But again, health officials tell us that only one of those people lives in Mecklenburg County. We're told the other one lives in a surrounding county. Guys.
Well, you know, Susanna, actually, I got texted that same picture that you just showed earlier today from a friend of mine. A lot of people see pictures like that, and of course they know this is cleaning. We're trying to make sure the common areas are cleaned out, but you see that and you're like, wow, this is important, and it is. But at the same time, you're in Uptown, you're near all these offices. What kind of demeanor are you seeing from people as they go about their business? Is it business as usual?
Yeah, Scott, that's exactly what I was going to say. I mean, looking around here in Uptown, it's exactly that, business as usual. People are just going about their days like they always do. But as we know, this is a very fluid situation. It's changing minute by minute. So we'll just have to keep an eye on things here and see if they change.
All right. Hopefully they can get that cleaned up and that worker will not test positive from here in Charlotte. Now, we've all heard about the travel ban, again, as we mentioned, for most of Europe, but the talk of it has led for some people to panic.
Yeah, we want to help you separate fact from fiction. That's going to help a lot in this situation. First, right now, this ban does not apply to the United Kingdom or Ireland. Also, we're hearing about Americans scrambling to try to come home. Again, this ban does not apply to American citizens or to their families, but they will need to be screened before their arrival and before coming back into the States once they land. Anyone with symptoms will need to get medical attention, or they will have to be quarantined for at least 2 weeks. Right now, this travel ban is set to be in place for 30 days, but there is no fixed expiration. So, of course, things are changing fluidly. This could be extended. Just 15 minutes ago, we learned that American Airlines that last flights from Charlotte to Munich in France have been canceled as of tomorrow. So if you know someone who is heading out.
Our Elsa Gillis is live at the airport tonight talking to passengers about the change.
I can tell you the travel ban is something every traveler we spoke with here at the airport today was aware of, and I think there are still a lot of questions about how this will work. Any U.S. citizen or lawful U.S. permanent resident returning to the U.S. who has traveled to one of what's called the Schengen area countries, that's 26 European countries, within the previous 14 days must enter the U.S. through an approved airport. According to American Airlines, their customers will be rebooked if necessary to one of those approved airports by reservations and airport teams. Once a passenger is screened, they'll be rebooked to their final destination. Charlotte is not one of the approved screening airports. The closest one to us is Atlanta. Foreign nationals who have traveled to one of those countries within the last 14 days will be denied permission to the U.S. Despite everything going on at the Charlotte Douglas Airport today, there were plenty of people traveling, and I asked for their thoughts on the ban.
That's huge. I was surprised that happened, but I think considering that's the hot zone, I think it's a good idea.
I think we got to do something.
It's likely we'll start to see some flights canceled in the near future. Delta already announced that they will soon be temporarily suspending some of their Europe flights, though none of them are here in Charlotte. Back to you.
In the past hour, North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper spoke to the state. We carried it here live at 4 o'clock on Channel 9. He said there's a new recommendation that any gathering of 100 people or more should be canceled or postponed, including faith-based events, but talking about things like concerts and shows, sporting events. And he says companies, again, reiterating, should have their workers work from home if possible.
We know that if we slow the spread of the virus now, that fewer people will become infected or become seriously ill. And we can be more effective in avoiding an overload of our hospitals and our medical system. It will save lives.
All this uncertainty about the future, it really helped to sink stocks again today on Wall Street. The Dow down 2,352 points today. That's a 10% drop. The worst day for stocks since 1987. The Nasdaq fell 750. In the past hour, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham here said that he is putting himself into a self-imposed quarantine, waiting to see if he has coronavirus. Why? Because he was at Mar-a-Lago last weekend. At the same time, the president of Brazil was there, and that president of Brazil did test positive for coronavirus, as well as his spokesman.
And again, we're hearing reports about this virus spreading so quickly. Only yesterday we told you about the first case reported in Lancaster County, and then the second case reported there late this afternoon. And now the school district in Lancaster trying to make sure that students are safe. Right now, schools are still open, but our South Carolina Bureau reporter Greg Suskin has been asking what the county is planning to do in response, and he joins us now live. Greg?
Yeah, and of course I made that call to schools first thing this morning because when something like this happens, people want to know, first of all, their children are safe. They want to know what the school district is doing, especially now that you've got that second presumptive case here in Lancaster County. Let's show you some video. This county school system here was one of the first to really jump on this issue several weeks ago and begin trying to put together a plan for what they would do. Of course, they are having more hand washing going on in schools and encouraging sick kids to stay home, but it's more than that as well. Some of the things that are being announced, they have now canceled all field trips, that is local and state field trips. They're urging teachers to keep a close watch on students in classrooms for any symptoms, asking kids to speak up if they don't feel good. They've also decided to eliminate all visitors to campuses here at schools unless they're parents. And of course, they're also saying now they're going to have to try to do without some of those volunteers that mean so much to the school system now, telling them to just stay home. Now, the lead nurse here in Lancaster County told me today parents are going to be getting this information very soon today. She says that education is really the key here.
The differences between flu and coronavirus, we talk about, we're now in the midst of allergy season. So what do those, what are the differences in those three?
Yeah, just another wrinkle in this right now. And one thing we're still waiting on is a decision on high school sports. Now, the high school league that oversees high school sports in South Carolina was supposed to have a teleconference about an hour ago, and some decision about coronavirus and high school sports could come out of that. Haven't seen that information just yet, but I'm hoping to continue to check once they get off the air here and see if there's anything new there. Erica?
All right, and Greg, what about that possibility of canceling school altogether?
Well, obviously you want to do that as a last resort, but we've seen some other states that have fewer cases than North or South Carolina do already make that decision to cancel school. You've seen colleges here, of course, extend spring break and do e-learning, learning from home, going all the way into April. So it's not that unrealistic to think that that might happen here, but fortunately not yet at this time.
Okay, Greg, thank you. We are hearing Atlanta Public Schools canceling classes, and so also Cobb County schools in a suburb of Atlanta canceling as well. I know we'll check back in with you later in the afternoon as well. Thank you. We do have a lot more coverage for you, and we know that you have so many questions about coronavirus and its spread. We are putting together a panel of experts to talk with you in a special report, Coronavirus Questions Answered. We will air this tomorrow night at 7 right here on Channel 9 on our sister station TV 64 and also on WSOC TV Now.